Hello everyone. Our topic for today is accounting and finance in the international business. This is presented by the Group 6. Here, in the introduction, this topic talks about how accounting and finance work in international business, meaning when companies do business in many countries. Accounting is like a language of business that helps companies know how much they earn or how much money they earn and spend or owe. So it also helps the government know how much tax the company should pay. Managers plan for the future and control company expenses. But in international business, things get harder because every country has its own accounting rules, currencies, and taxes. Here in the introduction, malalaman natin dito kung yung sa accounting natin is, kumbaga, sinasabi dito, it is a language of business. So when you say it is the language of business, kumbaga, ito yung way of communication ng per company in terms of their spendings, in terms of their earnings, and yung mga utang, yung mga payables nila. So, dito, sinasabi rin dito na it helps the government know how much tax the company should pay. So, syempre, yung mga company natin, nagbabayad sila ng tax. And also, managers plan for the future and control company expenses. So, dito, malalaman din natin in terms of accounting or financing na yung manager's plan is, kumbaga, na oversee nila or nape-predict nila yung mga possible outcome ng company expenses in terms of control. So, next would be the national differences in accounting standards. So, sinasabi dito na different countries have different accounting standards because of their history, culture, and economy. Like, for example, in the US and Britain or the United Kingdom, the companies raise money from investors. So they share more detailed financial information. So dito, sinasabi dito na yung US and yung UK is, kumbaga, yung source of income nila is from the investors. So, kumbaga, yung mga kapitalista na tinatawag. Ngayon, since merong mga investors na involved, magiging detailed sila or magiging much more transparent sila sa kanilang financial information. Kasi nga, syempre, ikaw, kung mag-i-invest ka, kailangan mo malalaman kung ano yung status ng company na ini-investan mo. So here, another one is in Germany and Switzerland, banks are the main companies from different countries, very tricky. So dito, ang pinaparating lang naman dito is, syempre, kung may mga different types ng style ng accounting, meron kasi yun kahit na pareho yung performance ng both companies, pero yung different style ang ginamit, kumbaga nagkakaiba-iba yung profit ng isang company, although same sila ng performance, pero different style yung accounting style. So nagkakaiba-iba yung rules pagdating doon, and then nagbabago yung mga profits na nare-report ng isang company when used in different style of accounting. So next would be the international accounting standards and harmonization. So dito, pag sinabi mong international accounting standards and harmonization, so dito, we're not talking about national na. We're talking about the worldwide na international accounting standards na. So bakit meron ganito? And why harmonization? So when we say harmonization, ito yung, kumbaga, yung pag-combine ng dalawa, two or more na bagay is, kumbaga, nag-harmonize. Ibig sabihin, it goes well, kaya harmonization. When in relation to international accounting standards, then ginawa itong international accounting standards kasi nga merong mga differences kagaya nung tinapik ko kanina na national differences. Ngayon, ini-eliminate na yung national differences towards the international accounting standards and harmonization. To solve these problems, experts created international accounting standards. The International Accounting Standards Board, or IASB, was formed in 2001 to make global accounting rules called IFRS, or the International Financial Reporting Standards. So here, over 100 countries now use or follow or allow rather IFRS, and the EU, or the European Union, requires companies listed in Europe to use IFRS. The US still uses its own rules called GAAP, or the Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, but the US and IASB are working together to make their systems more similar. So ayun, meron kasing kumbaga kung may iba-ibang accounting style, meron din tayong tinatawag na iba-ibang GAAP. Merong iba-ibang generally accepted accounting principles. And yun na yung US GAAP, UK GAAP, and so on and so forth. So, ayun, ngayon gumawa na sila ng tinatawag natin na IFRS, IASB, nag-form sila ng IASB muna, and then gumawa sila ng accounting rules based on the International Financial Reporting Standards, which is the IFRS. So here, countries like Japan, China, and Russia are also trying to match their rules with international standards. So ayun, nakikita rin natin dito na ayun na nga, ganun na yung ano nila, yung resolution nila when in terms of the national differences among accounting standards. So yun, to summarize, nag-form sila ng board na IASB, and then another is nag-implement sila ng IFRS na rules yun na yung tinatawag natin na IFRS. So ayun.
Ang capital budgeting ay process na ginagamit ng financial managers para suriin kung sulit ang isang long-term investment. Tinutulungan nitong malaman kung kikita ba ang proyekto at kung ano ang mga risk at gastos bago ito simulan. Sa international business, mas nagiging komplikado ang capital budgeting dahil sa tatlong factors. Una is cash flow to the project versus parent company. Kailangan ihiwalay ang kita ng foreign project sa kita sa talagang napupunta sa parent company. Pangalawa is political, economic, and foreign exchange risk. Ang pabago sa gobyerno, ekonomiya o halaga ng pera ay pwedeng makaapekto sa kita. At ang pangatlo is source of financing. Dapat isaalang-alang kung saan galing ang pondo dahil naapektin nito ang cash flow at return. Sa kabuuan, ang capital budgeting ay mahalaga para makagawa ng matalinong investment decisions lalo na sa global level. Project and parent cash flows. Sa international business, mahalagang ihiwalay ang cash flows na project sa cash flows ng parent company. May mga pagkakataon na ang kinikita ng project sa ibang bansa ay hindi pareho sa kikitain ng parent company dahil sa mga factors tulad ng taxes, restrictions, o exchange rate change. Kaya sa pag-evaluate ng foreign investment, dapat ang focus ng parent company ay sa cash flows na hindi aktual na matatanggap nito, hindi lang sa kita na ginagawa ng project mismo. Ibig sabihin, kahit maganda ang kita ng branch abroad, kung hindi naman ito ganap na ipapadala pabalik sa parent, hindi rin ito tunay ng benepisyo sa kumpanya bilang buo. Adjusting for political and economic risk. Ang political risk ay ang posibilidad na ang mga political na pangyayari o pagbabago sa gobyerno ay makasira sa negosyo o bawasan ang kita nito. Mas mataas ang ganitong risk sa mga bansang may social unrest, kaguluhan, at hindi matadag na pamahalaan. Kapag may political at social instability, pwedeng magdulot ito ng pagbagsak ng ekonomiya at maging walang halaga ang mga ari-arian o investment ng kumpanya. Kaya, kailangan ng mga financial managers na isaalang-alang ito bago mag-invest sa ibang bansa upang maprotektahan ang assets at kita ng kumpanya.
Next is economic risk, means may posibilidad na maapektuhan ng mga negosyo kapag hindi maayos ang pamamalakad ng isang bansa sa ekonomiya nito, tulad ng maling desisyon sa pera, buwis o government spending. For example, kapag tumaas ang inflation o nagtaas ng buwis, companies might have higher expenses and lower profits. In short, kapag magulo o mahina ang ekonomiya ng isang bansa, naapektuhan din ang mga businesses. So next is risk and capital budgeting. When a company plans to invest in another country, it faces extra risk dahil iba ang environment doon, tulad ng pagbabago sa economy, laws o currency exchange rates, and these factors can affect whether the investment will succeed or not. Kaya kailangan ng maayos na planning at analysis para ma-manage ang risk at manatiling profitable ang investment. Financial management or global money management. So first is money management, means making smart decision on how to handle the company's money, lalo na kung may branches ito sa iba't ibang bansa. The goal is to use the company's working capital efficiently and siguraduhin may enough cash for daily operations pero hindi sobra-sobra na sayang lang at hindi nagagamit para palaguin ang business. Second is minimizing cash balances. Every business needs to keep some cash on hand to pay bills and for emergencies. Pero kung masyadong maraming cash ang hawak ng company, sayang dahil hindi ito kumikita. So the goal is to find the right balance, enough cash for safety and daily needs. Pero gamitin ang sobra sa investments para mas lumago ang negosyo.
So next is the royalty payments and fees. So when you say royalty payments and fees in business industry, it is also held rewards to artists, creators, and innovators for their work, while allowing others to legally use, produce, or distribute their creations. So basically, for example, sa music industry, like si Taylor Swift, she is a singer and also a songwriter that receive royalty payments every time the their song is streamed on Spotify, played on radio, or even used in a movie. So parang once ginamit ng isang um or like sa Spotify, like pumasok yun sa top or pumasok siya sa rank, then may marireceive siya na reward. Ang tawag doon is royalty payments. Then pag royalty fees naman is yung paggamit ng isang director sa isang song ng artist. So need nila bayaran yun para hindi maging scripted yung nakuha nilang music. So yun yung royalty fees. So next is the transfer prices. So itong transfer prices is internal prices used for transactions within the same company, helping manage costs, profits, and taxes um, fairly across different parts of their organization. Like for example na lang yung isang company is nagpabenta sa isang company niya rin, yun yung parang tinatawag na transfer prices. So lastly, the fronting loans. It is a type of loan between a parent company and its foreign subsidiary. So as you can see dyan sa figure 23.3, it is an example of a fronting loans. Like yung parent company natin is tax haven, while yung foreign subsidiary naman is yung foreign operating subsidiary. So ang purpose ng London Bank is to protect against restriction on direct lending between related companies in different countries. So the ultimate way is yung real lender is the tax haven while the bank hides the relationship to make transaction legal and tax efficient. So itong way na to is utang, na dumadaan muna sa bangko kahit ang tunay na nagpapautang ay ang kanyang parent company pa rin.